What's going on, guys? TechSocial. Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be ranking all 76 brawlers to mastery icons. So a couple days ago I did mastery titles. We're going to do the mastery icons this time. Now I had a couple I had to actually figure out who they were, because like, whose is this? But yeah, it's going to be a pretty short video. We're doing S to F, no S plus this time. They're all probably just going to be in the middle, because a lot of them you know whose is whose, but I'm going to basically do it on how good I think it fits a profile, how good it looks overall, and if it's bad, should it be replaced by something else. Quick pause. After recording this video, I really was not a fan of the recording, because a lot of these are just so random that I had no idea how to rank them. I don't recommend watching this video because it's very bland and boring. You can do you, up to you, but if you want to watch it, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you, but I'm just saying this is kind of a boringish video. And again, with another thing, I like to say the word overall a lot. I did that again in this video, and I don't know why, but that word is just stuck in my head, and it's annoying, and I feel your pain, and I'm sorry for that. But if you want to watch this video, go ahead, but I would recommend clicking off because this video is boring and etc. But I want some kind of content, so that's why I'm uploading it. So, and it's in this random order. We're just going to be doing it. It clearly tries to do it in some kind of alphabetical pattern, but it's just completely confusing how it gives it to me. So let's just do it. Starting off with 8-bit. Now 8-bit, it's just his face overall. You know what you get here. It's not a bad one at all. It's a solid B tier in my opinion. It's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's 8-bit. Like, you know what you get with 8-bit. Next up we have Amber, and it's the little flame on her belt, which is, it's aight. I mean, like, I don't think anybody needs to see that close and deep to her belt, but you know what you get here. I'll give it C tier. Next is Ash's one, which is basically a bunch of trash, and if I hope that's a banana, I don't know what it is that has the face on it, but it's a good one. I like this one. I'm gonna give it the A tier. Next we have Colette, and Colette, it looks like she just ate Spike and killed him. Oh my goodness. But it's another good one as well. I think I'll give this one A tier as well. Next up is Colts, and it's just 3 bullets. Very boring in my opinion, but it's a C tier. Next is one of Crow's daggers. Like, I like projectiles, kind of like Colts, but I feel like at the same time it's kind of basic and boring. I don't know. I'll give this one C tier as well. Next we have Jackie's, and Jackie's is the little thing on her helmet with the smiley face on it. It's just, it fits Jackie. Like, it's okay. Like, it's B tier. Next we have Janet's microphone, whatever you want to call it. It's her main attack weapon, but it's a microphone. It's got a little face on it. You get up and close. I mean, I like when it shows weapons. I'll give it B tier. Next is Jessie's, and hers is a picture of Scrappy, which is very appropriate in my opinion. I'm gonna give it B tier. I could be A tier. I don't know. Ranking these is kind of hard because I don't know what it's showing some of the times. Next up we have Piper's sniper, and this is like a very perfect picture on Piper's weapon. Like, I think showing the weapon itself is really cool. So I'll give it A tier. Next we have Poco's eye, and I don't particularly like this one. I think it's gonna be my first D tier. I don't know why it gets so deep and personal in Poco's eye. Like, we know what his eyes look like. We don't need a close up in his eye. Next up we have El Primo, and that's a picture of his belt. It's very shiny. Again, I don't think we need a close up of his belt like Amber's. So Amber's got her belt in the C tier. I'll put El Primo is also in the C tier. Next up we have Tick, and Tick's head be thick, but you get a close-up, and I'm gonna put it in the A tier. Like, who doesn't want to just troll with Tick's head? Like, if you're a Tick main and you use this one, you're funny. Next up we have Willow's, and I actually like this one a lot. It's an attack of her lantern that she uses, but it's very close up, and it's very unique. I'll give it A tier. Next up, we have Barley's. Now, I had no clue whose this was, and it's just a close-up of his bow tie, which I don't really understand why. It could be, I don't know what they would pick for Barley's, but I don't particularly like it. Like, it's kind of a lackluster. I wouldn't think it would be Barley, so I'm gonna give it D tier. Next up, we have Bees, and Bees is just the top of her hat or her hood or whatever she's wearing. But it's aight. I'll give it C tier. Next up is Belle, and obviously you know this is Belle. You can tell by the golden tooth. It's just a picture of Belle. It's similar to 8-bit, so I'll put it right in the B tier. Next we have Daryl's, and Daryl's is just his hat, but I feel like they could have done more. This is kind of a boring picture. Like, everybody knows what's on the top of his hat. Like, come on, D tier. Next up we have Dynamite's Canary, and I'm gonna give this one S tier. Like, you really never see the canary. It's cute. It's adorable. I think this one deserves S tier. It might be one of the few only S tiers because as I'm looking through the list, they all are very similar in aspects. Next up we have Edgar's, and Edgar's is got the Brawl Stars logo for CEO. I don't know why it's up with the dead face, but I'm gonna give this one the A tier. I think a lot of people enjoy this one, and I kind of enjoy it too. Next up, we have Leon, and Leon is just a picture of his mouth with a lollipop in it. Very similar to 8-bit and Bells, where it just shows the profile's face, so I'll give it B tier, just like them. Next, we have Lola's Diamond, and I believe that's what she throws to summon her ego, which is, I actually think this one's really cool. I'm going to put it in A tier. It's very sparkly and shiny, and it has some detail to it. Next up, we have Lou's Snow Cone, basically a main attack replica. But I like this one a little more because it has a little more detail compared. I won't really say detail, but I'll give this one B tier. Next up, we have Rico, and Rico's big ol' eye, which is just, again, similar to 8-bit Belle and Leon with the facial up close, so I'll give it B tier. Next up, we have Rosa's little plant that gives her the shield when she uses her super. And this one it's I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll put it in the C tier. Next up, we have RT's split form, I guess, the base, the radio. I don't know how I feel about this one. It's okay. I'll give it C tier. Next up, we have BB, and I feel like this one just lacks the detail. It's 3 colors, purple, black, and white, and it has, there's definitely an angry face there. I just wish they could have done a little more, maybe shown a detailed photo of her bat. I don't know. I don't like this one. I'm going to put it in the D tier. Next up, we have bows, arrows, and I like this one. It's pretty cool. It's kind of basic in its attack, but it works. But I'll put it in the B tier. Next up, we have Bonnie's cannon, and Clyde be looking thick. And I'm gonna give this one B tier as well. It could even be A tier. Now that I'm looking through this is such a boring thing to rank because a lot of them, who cares? Moving on to M's next, and I thought this was Mortis's at first, but no, it's M's. After looking at some detail, this one's really cool. I like this one. Like, it shows her attack and that it's poisonous. I'll give this one B tier as well. Next up, we have Eve's angry little hatchling. I hope that's a hatchling and not Eve. That's definitely a hatchling, but it's aight. I'll give this one B tier as well. Starting to fill up the B tier. Next up, we have Fang with his popcorn, and it's also aight and kind of basic, but B tier as well. Next up, we have Mandy's crown. I actually like this one a lot. This was the first one I got because Mandy was the first brawler I grinded out to gold 3, but I got her thing. I wore it for a while. I like it. I'm gonna put it in the A tier. Give it the respect. Next up, we have Max's lightning bolt. I believe this is on the middle of her jacket that she's wearing. If not, I'm a fool because I don't play Max very often. It's B tier. Next, we have Megs. I don't know what this is. I feel like this has nothing to do with her. Like, I'm putting it F tier. Meg has a terrible mastery title and a terrible profile icon. Like, what is this? Like, is this supposed to be the thing that switches to Rob form? I don't know. It looks like an oil button that just says reverse the oil. I have no idea what this is. What is this? Next up, we have Colonel Ruffs, or Ruffs now. I actually really like this one. It's the thing on his head, and it's like perfectly a match. Now, I'm going to give it A tier. I don't think it's S tier worthy, but I really like this one a lot. Next up, we have Sam's Knuckle Busters. I believe that's what they're called. Good, it's a good photo. He's got his fist in there, primed and ready to go. And I'm gonna give it A tier as well. I like this one a lot. It's got some good detail. Next up, we have Sandy's, and this one's just the top of his head with a star. The star be sleepy, because Sandy's sleepy. I'll give it B tier. Next up, we have Brock's rocket launcher, and it's just his rocket launcher. It's a weapon, and a lot of the weapons I'm putting in the B tier, so there we go. Next up, we have Bull, and Bulls gets the Bull, and it's just Bull. Like, Bull, 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 Bull. Everything is a Bull, angry Bull. Like, yeah, I think I'm just going to put this one C tier. It's okay. It's not amazing though. Next up we have Busters, and I really like this one. Buster becomes his super in a cinema thing, and I really like it. It's very cool, very detailed, and very interesting. I'm gonna put it at the A tier. Next up we have Frank's, and his is just a close-up of his tie. Like I grind one of the most boring and worst brawlers to play just to get a close-up of his tie. I'm gonna give it D tier, just like Barley's. Next up we have Gale's hat, and it's similar to B, similar to Rosa, so I'll put it in the C tier, give it that vibe. Next up we have Gene, and it's just the moon on his head. Like, I'll give it a C as well. I'm now realizing that I probably should have put Sandy's in C. I'm keeping it in there. There's no changing it. It's too late. Next up we have Mortis, and the thing about this one is because it's a bat tie, which is recognition. So I'm going to give this one B tier because you easily can identify, oh, this is definitely Mortis. Next up, we have Mr. P's Porter, and Porter be looking mad thick, I'm not going to lie, but I'll give it B tier. Next up, we have, you might not have a clue who this is, but this is Nani's. If you are unaware of what this is, it's the little bracelet she wears on her right arm, I believe it is. I don't know if it's her left or her right arm, but it's there. I don't like this one. It's F tier. Like, Nani has not a good mastery title and a bad profile icon like Megs. Nani is my favorite brawler, but I just don't get why. It could have been a cute picture of Peep. Like, you can easily identify that's Nani's. But this is like, nobody pays attention to in detail of what this is. You would have no idea. If you don't look at Nani's arm, you have no clue what this is. I'm giving it F tier. I'm sorry. Next up, we have Shelly's shotgun, and again, all the weapons I'm putting in the B tier, so there's a theme here. I'm putting it in the B tier. Next up, we have Spikes. Spike becomes a sock on a hanger. I'm going to give this one S tier. I love this one. It is funny. Spike has a very good mastery title and arguably one of the best profile icons. Like, what is just so random, too, which is funny. Next up, we have Sprout. And Sprout, you know what you get here. It's just a picture of Sprout's face, but it fits perfectly in a frame. And they actually have to have the tape as well. This one is A tier worthy. It may even be S tier. Next up, we have Buzz's Whistle. And no, you're out of the pool. I actually like this one a lot, too. It has even an eye on there, which I think is a little creepy, but I will give this one A tier. Next up, we have Byron, and I believe this is the top of his weapon. Or his, I don't even know, but I like this one a lot. Like, I know what it is, but I'm having a hard time figuring out what the heck it is. I'm pretty sure it's the top of his staff, but I'm going to give this one A tier, even though I know all the weapons tend to be B tier. Like, he's supposed to have, like, this snake venom vibe to it, and it just fits very well. Next up, we have Carl, and you have the theme there. We have 8-Bit, Bell, Leon, Rico, all those brawlers. They all have a similar theme. So, Carl, you're going in the B tier with them. Gray, he's got a picture of his walking cane, and yeah, it's a very nice one. I'll give it B tier. It's a part of his gadget weapon. So, weapon, we have the theme here, B tier. Next up, we have Griff's, and you can pretty much tell it's Griff's because of that coin with the Star Park logo in it. This one's alright. I'll give it the B tier as well. Next up is Grom's, and you can easily tell it's Grom's, but I feel like this one's a little bit basic. I feel like they could have gone a little more in depth with this one, so I'm actually going to give it C tier. Next up, we have Nita's, and Nita's is a picture of Bruce, and Bruce be looking mad thick with that nose. I'll give it B tier because facial up close, I'm just giving B tier. Same with Otis. Otis is just a close-up of himself. So Otis in the B tier. Next up, we have Pam, and Pam be working out. Look at that muscle. But other than that, that's a B tier. Next up, we have Squeak, and going with the theme here, I'm going to naturally give this one a B tier. Next up, we have Stu, and Stu's is the top of his helmet, but it fits very shiny and nicely. So I will give it B tier. And next up is Surge's, who's very similar to Stu's with the shininess. It's the logo of his rank 4. So I'll also give it B tier. Next up, we have Chester's, and Chester's is a picture of his super when it's not charged. It'll show that icon. It's very shiny, though, and it's another pretty average one, so I'll give it B tier as well. Next up, we have Gus's. I really like this one. Look at it. He's got the derpy face on it. It's just, it's funny. I'm giving this one A tier. I like this one a lot. It might even be S tier. Next up, we have Penny's skull, and Penny got a mad thick skull on her head, but you know what you get here. I'll give it B tier. Next up is Tara's eye, and if we have the theme keep going though, and I'm really going through this very quickly now, but it's B tier. There's so many in the B tier, jeez. Next up we have Hank's and his little hard hat. I'm gonna give this one C tier because I'll give it the B tier because if there's a theme going, it's ahead. It has it has B2B on there, which is I don't know what it stands for, but the next one is Maisie's, and I don't really understand what this one's trying to implement here. Like, it's just so random in my opinion. I know, oh god, I'm tired, holy mackerel. But, I don't know what this one's trying to show. Like, I wouldn't think this would be Maisie. So I'm actually going to give this one the D tier. I just think it's just so random. Next up, we have Cordelius, and I don't know what's, like, it's a canister of something. And there's like this little green beam on the top. Maybe it's poison filling up. I don't know what it is, but I'll give this one a C tier just because of confusion. Next up, we have Doug, and he's got that beautiful hot dog. Like, it's well done, well made with heart. It's going in the A tier just because of creativity. Next up, we have Chuck, and Chuck is also a skull. It's the back of his train, so it's similar to Penny's. I'll give it a B tier. Next up, we have Pearl, and she be giving the thumbs up with the heart because she be baking them cookies. And I'm going to give this one just a B tier because it's average. Next up, we have Charlie's Spider, and I like this one. It's pretty cool. You know what you get here. Charlie be in love with spiders, and Charlie is one of my favorite brawlers, so I'll give it the B tier as well. Miko, it has a big old banana. Anything that's a banana is an automatic S tier. He has one of the best profile icons in my opinion, and one of the best mastery titles. Miko has everything going for him. Next up is Kit, and honestly, it's Golden Kit, but honestly, it feels like it should fit with Golden Echo B. That's what it reminds me of. It's alright though, so I'll give it B tier. And last but not least is Larry and Laurie's with a ticket. And it's got the Star Park logo on here, but I feel like it's a little lackluster. You wouldn't really think it's Larry and Laurie's. It could be even RT's with a theme. So I'll give it C tier. But that's it. A lot of B, pretty decent amount of A, decent amount of C, very few D, F, and S. But yeah, just a lot of average overall. But that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.